Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Conspiracy's RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars 11. And you guys, we have reached the end of the season. And I know, I have been away. Where have I been exactly? I went to Florida. I was in Arkansas for Pride. I was a little bit depressed. I was, to be honest. I think, to keep it brief, I gave up myself for a man. I really do feel like I did that. And I was just so obsessed with him that I couldn't focus on anything else. And I've been known to be a little bit obsessive, whether it's this channel, whether it's a relationship. It's like I put my all into everything I do. And oh my gosh, do I look fucking crazy with this fucking choking me? It's a little too small. But anyways, my ADD is back as well. But, I think this has all been a lesson in like, you don't need to obsess over everything and like, obviously give your best and be your best, but it doesn't have to be perfect and you don't have to be like all in on everything. Or being all in doesn't necessarily mean you have to like give up everything else. So I'm just trying to find a balance in everything in my life. Everybody's already clicked off by now. Anyways, in today's video, I missed out on the last parts of All Stars 11, and so we are actually going to be ranking all of the brackets of All Stars 11 and All Stars 10. And when I say all of the brackets, I also mean the merge. I feel like a lot of people leave the merge out, but it's kind of one of the most important parts of the season if you think about it, because that's who decides the winner. So in today's video, we are going to be scientifically ranking every single bracket of All Stars 11 and All Stars 10. We are going to be rating a queen, if you will, but we're not rating a queen, we are rating a bracket. And so with each of the three brackets from All Stars 10 and All Stars 11 and each merge, that means we have 8 total spots on our ranking. Now, may I just say that a lot of this video is inspired by Jack Fed and the Drag Detective, as well as the Swiftologist. All of them do these sort of scientific rankings on their own channels in different ways. And, this is kind of me kind of cherry picking the buffet of all the things that I liked from their ranking videos and putting my own spin on it. And for each category, I kept it the same as Jack Fed's video because I thought it was a good structure. We have challenge/performances, runways, lip syncs, chemistry/storylines, strategy. And so starting all the way down at number 8, it's no surprise, it is All Stars 10's bracket 3. For All Stars 10 bracket 3, I gave challenge performances a 6, runways a 5, lip syncs a 4, chemistry/storyline a 3, and strategy a 5, giving a 23 out of a possible 50 points, ranking it at 46%. So this is not a passing grade. This is a failure. And I just think reflecting back on bracket 3, this cast just had no chemistry. I mean, you had the Cynthia and Acid Betty relationship, which was cute and it does go somewhere. So there's that storyline, but having a storyline is one thing, but it being effective or entertaining is another thing. And that didn't really go anywhere other than just like, well, they know each other. I mean, it served a story, but the story wasn't satisfying. And then you had Daya and Alyssa Hunter, and there was their beef, and we kind of got some good juice out of it. But overall, when you have Ginger Minj, who wins every single challenge, who has really no connection to anybody in the cast, and she just bulldozes all the challenges, wins 2 lip syncs, and I don't know, it's like, I will say I ranked the challenges high because I have to be honest, I like all of these challenges. I think they're all a really good idea. And to be honest, this is my hot take. And I've said this on Twitter. If you're not following me on Twitter, please check it out. I was very active on Twitter during my break. And yeah, I just feel like there's 2 types of riggery. There's the Crystal Method riggery, and there's the Ginger Minj riggery. And the Ginger Minj riggery is more so them planning the challenges of the season around her and then Ginger delivering because the challenges are set up for her to succeed. You had the musical theater inspired design challenge with literally like Ariana Grande, Cynthia Erivo defying gravity. Then you have country inspired girl group. And then you have, oh, we're going to do a bachelor inspired golden bachelor, but whatever. It's an improv challenge. She's great at that. And it also kind of like leans into like playing an old character, you know, kind of giving like the Ben de la Creme on the original Bitchler challenge. Anyways, and then you have obviously the Snatch game, which she's won twice now, and then she wins for the third time. That's in a different bracket, obviously, but I'm just explaining how that season was set up for her versus Crystal. It's more so, I don't think they set up any of the challenges like in particular for her. Well, it's tough because she had the most memorable makeover from season 12. And then, you know, she did really well on the improv challenge on season 12, as well as then the talking story. So there's a couple challenges where like it maybe could have been set up for her, but I feel more so, regardless of if they were set up for her or not, production was still set on, we're going to give her the win regardless. And we will just edit the episode around her. So there's one version where we're editing the season and the challenges around a queen. And then there's one where we're keeping the challenges how they are, and we're just going to edit the episode around the queen and still give her the win. And that's kind of what I felt was happening with Crystal this season. As much as she was likable this season, but she was honestly kind of under-edited. Like, I remember, I love how this is bracket 3 and I'm talking about Crystal Method now. Like, the ADD, it knows no bounds. But I remember saying, like, on my first video talking about bracket 2 of All Stars 11, I was like, oh, Crystal Method's getting a really prominent winner at it. She's just so galvanized. Like, she's really trying to win. I do think, like, Crystal this whole time, she was so laser focused on that crown, and she wasn't entertaining any of the drama, but she also wasn't entertaining any of the strategy. And so when you're not, like, tuning into the strategy, you're not tuning into the drama, what does she have to do other than just be handed all these wins? And so it's just not an interesting storyline. And we'll get to it. But speaking on bracket 3, again, there wasn't a whole lot of strategy. Like, even someone, I mean, we had Daya kind of trying to link up with Ginger, but that doesn't really go anywhere when Ginger's in the top all the time. And then you have Acid Betty just being like, we have to send Cynthia. Like, her being like sweet and all, but like low key, Acid Betty probably should have gone on, or Denali. Like, and Denali just kind of being slept on. Like, this is a horse of a different color, but you will never gaslight me into thinking that Denali was bad in that Miley Cyrus lip sync. She just, in my opinion, I thought that was a great lip sync. I thought she killed it. Like, people are saying, like, she's doing too much. Her energy's too erratic. I'm like, are we listening to the same song here? Are we listening to the same song? It's such an upbeat song. She was, like, really playing into, like, the intensity of the song. And I think Ginger's comedy is sometimes funny in her lip syncs. I mean, by the time we got to the finale of All Stars 10, it was like eye roll. But at that point, it was still funny, but it still should have been Denali. But anyways, I think for all the reasons we've just discussed in that long-winded response, it's getting number 8 on the Rate a Queen. And that's the tea. Moving on to number 7, and we actually have the All Stars 11 bracket 1. So for bracket 1, for challenge / performances, I gave it a 5. And then for runways, I gave it a 7. For lip syncs, I gave it a 4. For chemistry / storylines, I gave it a 4. And for strategy, I also gave it a 4. And for the All Stars 11 bracket 1, it has a score of 24 out of 50, giving it a 48%. Again, this is not a passing grade. And yeah, I just feel like this bracket was so middle of the road nothing burger to me. Like, I've had a chance to sort of relive it, and I think what stands out to me, obviously the runway category is the highest, and what's so impressive about that is because what I'm really thinking about is that second design challenge. Like, what Akira and Dawn were able to design was just so next level. Like the fact that they both designed that there in the workroom in a day, it's so beyond impressive. And then you also had like the Latoya runway, which I am not always a fan of, like the Night of 1,000 or whatever, especially when a lot of times I might not know who the person is, which, I mean, obviously I know who Latoya Jackson is, but I'm not familiar with her looks, you know? But Dawn killed it, Morgan killed it, what's her name? Morphine killed it. I remember Morphine's name. There's a lot of queens on these seasons. But yeah, when it comes to lip syncs, one, we had to watch Dawn lip sync every week, which nobody wants to do that. I thought Akira did good in her lip sync. That was pretty entertaining. And Morgan is a fierce entertainer, but none of them were like that sickening nor that memorable considering, okay, I remember one was Zombie Boy, and then I knew the second one. What was it, Bootylicious? Yeah, I think it was. And that's obviously great for Akira. In terms of storyline, I ranked it low, but there was so much potential. Like, I remember this was the bracket that I was most looking forward to because it's the iconic return of Mystique versus Morgan. And we have Dawn being sent home by Morphine and that storyline. And I had no idea that Akira and Morgan also knew each other. And so there was all that storyline potential. And then I'd say virtually none of it pans out. I mean, Morphine gives Dawn her point at the end, and that kind of pans out. But I just feel like, one, Dawn was in the top every week, so she couldn't ever help Morphine. And then the Morgan and Akira storyline, that did end up panning out. But it wasn't satisfying because then it's like, okay, Morgan wins 2 challenges, but then Akira is the one who makes it. And, not that I don't think Dawn should have made it, not that I don't think Akira should have made it. I think, again, if it was the 3 going on, I think it would have been even less stakes because there was a clear top 3 of that bracket of Morphine, Akira, and Dawn. But overall, I just feel like this is such a nothing burger, and I'm struggling for things to even talk about. Like, Lucky Stars and Mystique, that was abysmal. Like, I just wasn't impressed. Like, Lucky is supposed to be the crafty queen, and then she just looked a hot mess for the design challenge. And it's like, girl, this is supposed to be your thing. And then Mystique looked a hot mess for that last Paris runway. I don't have much more to say. Like, I don't think the chemistry was really that great either. Like, I liked seeing Morgan there, but Morgan was the one who was kind of, to me, driving all of the storyline. Like, she just makes good TV to me. And so the fact that she didn't make the merge is kind of like, oh, so this is what we're doing. And that's the tea. Moving on to number 6, and we have the All Stars 10 merge. And for the All Stars 10 merge, for challenges / performances, I gave it a 5. For runways, I gave it a 6. For lip syncs, I gave it a 6. For chemistry / storyline, I gave it a 5. And for strategy, I gave it a 3, giving it an even 25 out of 50 for 50%. So still a failure. And I was thinking about this the other day, like, the All Stars 10 merge was just so strange. It was the only time in Drag Race history, other than UK season 2, where we have a gap in filming, and then they come back, and first of all, 2 queens had extreme weight loss in that time. Everybody looks different. I think some people had maybe dyed their hair, got their hair cut. I think it was Irene who got her hair cut. And yeah, everybody had different confessional looks. It was just, in a way, it was neat, but it was just strange. And like the whole vibe of it, like, it almost felt like somebody was trying to like make an imitation of Drag Race. Like, it didn't feel like Drag Race to me. Is that crazy to say? Like, it just felt weird. Like, I think for all of these bracket seasons, I've always said the workroom kind of feels empty. And I think we started to mitigate that for All Stars 11. But yeah, it was just a strange vibe. It felt just so different. Everything about it. But yeah, the All Stars 10 merge, obviously for the strategy, I put that low because there really is no strategy. There was no Rate a Queen. It was back to just lip sync for your life. And yeah, even when we get down to the Rate a Queen for the lip sync SmackDown, one, basically it's been confirmed that that was like a sham. Like nobody actually ranked Ginger number one, yet somehow she was number one. So even if the queens were trying to be strategic with their rankings, it didn't even work out in the end. But that's the thing about Rate a Queen. I feel like nobody wants to be shady with it. And it's like, yeah, that's kind of the point. And that's why I loved that Joey J was like, I'm going to be strategic with it. Like, I'm the only one here who like is at a disadvantage. But yeah, we'll get to that. Thinking about the runways, I think I remember Georges and Bosco having some really nice runways. I think I remember I remember Georges's star runway, and I remember Bosco's like silver like lame dress, and then her crying in the background when Mistress goes home. Um, and then speaking of lip syncs, I really gotta say it's mostly due to Bosco and Georges again. They kind of carried the runways and they're also carrying the lip syncs, and mostly in that SmackDown. I will say Mistress delivered two, well, I don't know if her guest lip sync was super great, but I remember her first, was that spoken word? Or it was a cappella against Cynthia. I think that was really great. And I think Mistress killed that lip sync and she looked great during the lip sync. Um, so yeah, I think the lip syncs were okay. I mean, I think it was Georges's best lip sync ever to Whenever, Wherever. And then I don't remember what the song was. It was some like burlesque song that Bosco got. And of course, she killed it. She had the props. And then there was Ginger, and that really tanked a lot of that score. And then obviously, like the winner, I don't know which I would maybe say we're applying the winner to the challenge slash performances score because, or maybe to the storyline as well. That's what really tanks it. I'd say the winner maybe more applies to like the storyline at the end where, yeah, it's just like Ginger just like sweeps. And I'll never forget Mistress had the iconic moment of, congratulations, I hope you win the whole thing. Like that is so iconic. And we'll get to it, but Mistress is the main character of this season, and you either love her or you hate her, but she makes good TV. And she, in my opinion, was the only one that whole season who was like giving it 100% in the drama department, but also I did feel like she was giving it her all in the challenges, and it just, production wasn't seeing it for her. But yeah, I would say Mistress is the one who contributes basically all 5 points to the storyline of the season. I mean, she has that like just I mean, this tanks this tanks points. I don't know. Because she also had the horrible moment with Aja that was just so uncomfortable and like honestly crossing a line, like the contact, like I think Mistress at that point was in a bad headspace and that was hard to watch. And then it would have made more sense for Mistress to come back at that point when it was just her and Carrie as the only two options as the wild card, because bringing Carrie back to the finale after not making the merge, and yeah, just it was so much better on All Stars 11 having the wild card come back for the merge, because just coming back in the finale makes no sense. And it's like they're never going to choose them to win. So what would the point of this be? Versus like I think Joey Loki should have won, and it made sense because she was there for all of the challenges. But yeah, so 50%, it's a failure. That's the T. Moving on to number 5, and we have All Stars 11 Bracket 2. And this is the point in the ranking where I'd say all of the brackets above this are pretty good TV, and I enjoyed them. Although you might not think that from my score, you know, it's not an exact science, but for bracket 2, I gave challenge slash performances a 5. I gave runways a 6. I gave lip syncs a 5. I gave chemistry slash storyline a 6. And I gave strategy an 8. All Stars 11 bracket 2 had a 30 out of 50, giving it a score of 60%. I feel like we have to talk about strategy because that Untucked single-handedly brought back Old Untucked. It was so intense. It was so juicy. I mean, I think it's half of what got Selena Esteti's cast on Big Brother. And we've seen now she is not doing great. I thought maybe she'd learn. I thought maybe she was the strategic mastermind that she thought she was, but she's not. She's doing the same thing. I'm like, she can't keep her mouth fucking closed, and everybody hears her. It gets back to everybody. It happened with Aura. It's happening with the whole Big Brother house now. Regardless, it makes great TV and it makes great storyline. When she breaks the fourth wall looking at the camera, she's making alliances with everybody. I think I ranked the challenges pretty low because, we have kind of like this generic girl group challenge, and then, we have the little skit challenge, and then we just have like a generic makeover challenge. Like, nothing about it felt super special. And I can't say that any of the performances from any of these three challenges like stand out to me super well. Like, Selena won the makeover. That was great. I remember that, but it's not like it's one of the best makeovers in history. Same just with all the challenges. I don't think any of these were like super standout performances from the queens in the challenges themselves. And then for runways, it's kind of the same thing. I mean, I liked Crystal's Butter runway. That was really great. Aura really slayed the runway this season. Crystal and April and Vivacious, they all had some like really great runway moments, but again, nothing that's like super standout. I mean, Vivacious's Butter runway was really great too, and I think part of what made it so great was because it was just so unexpected. In terms of lip syncs, none of these were that great. Again, we had to watch Crystal lip sync for two of them. And then we had Silky, like she had her whole prop extravaganza, but it's like that didn't really fit the song. The only person who really impressed me in the lip sync performance was Selena Estides to Nicki Minaj. And Selena is such a great lip syncer, and I just think, if she ever comes back to All Stars, I think production will really value her this time, because I think production just had seen that she wasn't received very well on season 15, and they didn't want to take a whole lot of risk with like rewarding her. And yeah, but by the end, again, we're talking about the strategy, or being like, I didn't know you could vote for top two. And like, we've talked about this before on the channel, but like Silky just at the end, like at the final moment, just getting everybody to give her points, like swindling everybody last minute, talking under her breath. Like, that's how you do it. Like, Selena, be quiet. Do not let people hear you. Don't let it get back to people. You have to do this shit at the last minute and then take out your enemy when they least expect it. That's how you do strategy. Like, she just thinks it's like, oh, I'm going to make alliances with all these people and I'm just going to lie. And that's strategy. That's not strategy. That's being stupid. Like, that's all there is to it. And so, yeah, that's the tea. Moving on to our number 4 spot, and we have the All Stars 11 merge. And the All Stars 11 merge, for challenge / performance, we gave it a 6. For runways, we gave a 7. For lip syncs, we gave a 7. For chemistry / storylines, we gave a 7. And for strategy, we gave a 5. There was just some great runways in this part of the season for All Stars 11. I think Silky had some great runways. Joey J had some great runways. Crystal had great runways. Jasmine had great runways. I'm honestly looking back at this and I almost feel like I wish I would have rated it higher, but like at the same time, 7's still a great score. And yeah, I've just been obsessed with Joey J's runways and her photo shoots this season. Like, she has really hired a great photographer. I was like, what's the word? Photographer, and also a great graphic designer to like edit the photos. I don't know if it's the same person as the photographer, but yeah, and talking about just storyline, like seeing Joey J make it all the way to the top 2, that was great. And, there was a lot of unfinished business between Akuria and Silky, but regardless, I do still like the fact that they made it to the merge. And, it's kind of unfair, but like, I do feel like the drama that it caused outside of the season 2, for me, I was entertained. Like, it's so petty, but like the TV, the picture of Silky with the TV, the gumbo, like, whatever. You got to be chronically online to understand it, but I was happy that we got that content out of it, even if it wasn't actually in the season. So maybe it's a little unfair, but it is what it is. And, we had 4 people from bracket 3 making it to the merge. And I thought that was interesting. And I think bracket 3 did have such good chemistry that to have them all carry over was great. Then you also had the storyline of Akira and Kennedy both being Davenports. Notice how Crystal's name, when talking about storyline, hasn't come up at all because she's not a part of it. Like, to make the winner of the challenge exempt, first of all, this is never how Rate a Queen has worked. And then to just be like, oh, well, because we were the ones who gave you the win 2 weeks in a row, you're just going to make it to the second round of the Lollapalooza. That shit made no sense. And that is obviously just rigged. And I thought about, like, well, what if somebody hadn't won both episodes? And I was like, maybe then they would have just done, like, the winner of the first episode and the winner of the second episode. They're the two who make it to the second round of the Lollapalooza. Maybe something like that. And then they would just ignore the, like, top ranked queen Jasmine spot. When we get to lip syncs, obviously the lip syncs is such a high score as well because we have Akira versus Kennedy. Then we have Akira versus Sam. And then, I won't say that the lip syncs in the finale were super great, but I do think just seeing Joey J get that redemption and having people, like, just not expect her to slay the lip syncs in the way that she did, that was really gratifying. And so that's what also contributes to the high score. But the Nobody's Supposed to Be Here lip sync, I mean, that was just amazing. It was so good. I think they were able to make it feel more like an actual Drag Race season, right? It felt better paced, and 6 people in the finale is still too much, but it's better than 8, right? And so yeah, that's the motherfucking T for number 4. Moving on to number 3, in third place, we have All Stars 10 bracket number 1. And for bracket number 1, for challenge class performances, I gave an 8. For runways, I gave a 7. For lip syncs, I gave a 7. For chemistry/storyline, I gave a 7. And for strategy, I gave a 5, giving it a total score of 34 out of 50, or 68%. I gave challenges and performance such a high score because I just loved these challenges. The rocker challenge, and then you have this improv murder mystery challenge, and then you had, like, the basketball girls makeover, and it's not just the challenges, but it's the queen's performances. I mean, to see Irene, I had always said if Irene ever came back, I mean, she was the main character of her episode where she went home, and she gave such great TV in that one episode where she was the first out, and I always said if she ever came back to Drag Race, she would slay it because she won the first mini challenge. You could tell she was just so good at drag and so confident. And she comes back and she delivers that 100%. I still think her makeover challenge, it's the best makeover challenge of all time. And it's honestly one of my favorite runways of all time. And I still, again, that's the best makeover challenge of all time in my opinion. And then in the second episode improv challenge, that's the best acting challenge we've ever seen on Drag Race. That is the best actual acting performance we have ever seen on Drag Race. And when I'm talking about acting, I'm talking about the fact that, like, when she, like, switches when she's caught, it was amazing. It was so good. And then when it comes to runways, I mean, we got to talk about Bosco. I mean, talk about having some good fucking work done. I mean, everybody's kind of a boob person, but, like, obviously I'm gay. We're all gay, unless you're not gay. Joey J is gay. But her boobs, I mean, they were amazing. I don't know what to say. Like, and then the Elvira runway, and then Irene just brought it to the runway so hard as well. And, I think those two and Aja, they really carried this bracket. But I will say, everybody remembers, spoiler alert, Mistress and Georgia swapping points, but nobody talks about the fact that Olivia Lux and Deja Skye did it first after episode 2 of All Stars 10. They got points from, I think it was both Aja and Phoenix, and then they swapped points. And then that's what led to the drama of them being tied with Aja. And then it was Phoenix who ended up giving her point to Aja. That was just such a good moment. And so I ranked strategy low, but I will say the fact that they had 5 was because of that moment, because I didn't really feel like, one, you had the Bosco and Irene connection, which was great to see. It was so fun to see them on the same season together as sisters. But when Irene's in the top every week and Bosco's in the top for 2 out of 3 weeks, like, you don't get to see a lot of strategy there. And yeah, I didn't feel like Phoenix really was doing a whole lot of strategy herself. And so overall, that's why strategy's a little low. But overall, that's the tea. It's third. I wasn't expecting it to be this high, if I'm being completely honest. Like, I remember feeling like in the moment, no, I felt like in the moment, like, I was so refreshed by the fact that it's like, this was a new format, a new season. And I felt like, Aja had such a good energy. She was the confessional queen, seeing Irene back. And so, in a way, I wasn't expecting it, but in a way, I kind of was. And so, yeah, that's the motherfucking tea. Moving on to number 2, who is the runner-up? And it is All Stars 11 bracket number 3. And, they really broke the bracket 3 curse that All Stars 10 started. And yeah, I felt like bracket 3 of All Stars 11 really had the best chemistry. And going into the points, for challenge plus performances for bracket 3, I gave a 7. For runways, I gave a 6. For lip syncs, I gave an 8. For chemistry / storyline, I gave a 7. And for strategy, I gave a 7. Listen, the challenges, they weren't as good as bracket 1, but they were really great. I mean, the RuPaul impersonations, I just think Kennedy did so good there. Bringing back the rap and roast, which is my favorite challenge of all time on Drag Race. I wish they did it every single season. That was really amazing that they brought it back. It would have probably been near an 8 or a 9, but that first design challenge, that was probably the worst fucking design challenge we've seen of all time in Drag Race. Like, even back to season 1, season 2, because that was a different standard, and low-key, the girls still delivered better looks than what we got on that runway. That was abysmal. Like, Sam and Jasmine, they were cute. Everybody else, I was like, send them home now. Like, that was terrible. But they really redeemed it with the second and third episode, where it was just like above and beyond. And then lip syncs, like, I've already talked about like Kennedy's lip sync in episode 2, where she's like playing drunk. That was just drag personified. And then the fact that we got a Breakin' Dishes lip sync on Drag Race, and that we got to see Kennedy do it, and she's in that green lip sync number. And again, also like Sam, that was one of the best parts of that design challenge episode 1, was like seeing Sam lip sync. And like, Sam is actually a really great lip syncer, and her lip sync skills have improved so much on the season. The fact that she also, in the merge, was able to sort of keep up with Akira to a Beyonce song, like, that's impressive. And then for chemistry / storyline, this cast had so much good chemistry, even though like a lot of them didn't really have a lot of connection. You had Sugarcane from season 11, you had Samstar from season 17. Like, it was kind of a random assortment of girls, but they clicked so well. And it brings us also to strategy, where I do feel like everybody was strategizing. You had Samstar being like, you are my mom's favorite drag queen. You had Jasmine, who was like constantly trying to stir the pot, but she was also still trying to get her points where she could. And then you also had like Sugarcane just being a dumbass and giving her point to Sam, when she could have swapped with Joey, because Joey was trying to play the game. Joey was trying to play the game with everybody, and I don't think people were necessarily wanting to play the game with her. But she was slaying the challenges, and the judges didn't want to give it to her. And then you had Kennedy making some great drama, being like, oh, I don't know if I want to give Sugar my point, but then she did. Like, it was just really great. And so that's the tea. That's second place. And now to the long-awaited number 1. And, this is controversial because, like I said, the main character is controversial. And I mean, we have to talk about it. Number 1, it's bracket 2 of All Stars 10. I still to this day, I remain fervent in the fact that this was the best TV we've gotten on Drag Race. This was the best All Stars has ever been since All Stars 2. I genuinely believe that. The fact that Nicole Paige Brooks doesn't even make the merge, yet she is now a mainstay in Drag Race. I mean, the fact that this bracket, it made Lydia, who was, very well liked, very well received on season 17, but it turned Lydia into a Drag Race mainstay. Like, the power that these 3 episodes had. And it's just the casting decision of, and again, I've tweeted this on Twitter, but Maddie was pulled out and replaced with Lydia last minute, and it ended up being the best thing that could ever happen to this season. I've rated the challenges so high because I love the concept of the 8 ball, where they have 8 different pieces that they have to somehow incorporate all into an outfit. That was so great. Then you had the Rap and Roast, which again, I've already stated, so good. And then for episode 3, you had that Rusical, which, it wasn't my favorite Rusical, but I think those first 2 episodes really made up for it. And that Rap and Roast was just so good. Carrie, you like to call yourself Tranos? Well, I'm the Iron Woman. Look what happened to Thanos. Or Itty Bitty Titty Girl Twinkie Butthole Winking when she turns the Kerner. Oh, I can't read the bitch. Look how Nicole Paige looks. So good. Or to quote Alyssa Edwards, beast. It was so great. The runways weren't a super big standout. I liked some of the stuff that Lydia had made. I think Georges had some good runways. I won't say those were particularly memorable. I'm somebody who kind of likes the hot to go lip sync, but in general, the lip syncs for this bracket weren't super great. I think they had Texas Hold'em, and Georges had a sickening number, and she did well, and then there was that one song that Mistress was so pissed off that she didn't win. And she knew that production put that there to mess with her because they wanted her to crash out. And Mistress didn't give them what she wanted, but she actually ended up giving them something so much greater. I think it was Love Sensation. Is that it? And that's something she's known for. And she slays the design challenge, and she was high for it, but they don't give her the win. And I low-key think she should have won for that. But then again, I also feel like Lydia and Tina, Tina, that was such a redemption for her. The fact that she served such fashion and that we had no idea that she could design like that. That was so impressive. And I also love Lydia's 80s inspired look. That's still also one of my favorite looks ever. And so Mistress and Georges get back. And again, now we're talking about storyline. The storylines are just so good. Mistress adopts Lydia as her drag daughter. And then you also have Mistress basically clowning Nicole Paige Brooks and being we're both Brooks. We're drag family. And you have the fact that Mistress and Georges know each other from Texas and they started drag together. That's so good. And then you had the whole Mistress and Tina Burner wig drama, which again, this 3-episode run, the amount of things that happen, we then have later on, which, we should probably go chronologically. First off, we have the iconic points drama, which Carrie thinks that Mistress stole her point, but it was actually Georges that stole her point, and Mistress stole it from Nicole. But anyways, they end up doing that swap, and we all know, that was just so iconic. And it's I just don't understand, how can you be mad? It's a game. This was also the closest that we've ever really had to Survivor strategy, but in such a great way. I do love the bracket format for what it was able to give us with the points. And I just love that Mistress this whole season, in a lot of ways, she's kind of giving a big F you to production, but she's making great TV in the process either way. She's I'm not going to give you the crash out you want, but instead, I'm going to steal these points and I'm going to make sure that I'm in the lead. Or when she calls Carrie a fake bitch at the end, because Carrie doesn't give her point, because Carrie was trying to get to the merge, which obviously they're all playing for themselves. So it's no, I'm not going to give you my point. And she gives it to her daughter. Just so good. And then we already talked about it, but the whole moment of congratulations, I hope you win the whole thing. That was amazing TV. It just was. Like, she needs to be back on every single season, and I still think that she deserves a crown. Like, but even not talking about her, I just think everybody just had such an integral part of this season, and it turned all of them into like Drag Race icons in some ways. I think Carrie and Tina don't get that love as much, but like Carrie's always going to be iconic. And, you know, I think it really got people to take Tina seriously. Not Mistress, but everybody else were like, you know what? That was a good, solid run for Tina. And overall, that will probably be like my favorite 3-episode run. Like, you know, in a way, these brackets are kind of like mini seasons. Like, bracket 2 is probably my favorite season of Drag Race of all time. You know, I love season 16, I love season 15, but bracket 2 of All Stars 10, I'm a hardcore Mistress stan to my core. And also the fact that like bracket 2, it made me like Georges. Like, I never really vibed with Georges. Like, I started to like her more on All Stars 10, on All Stars 9, but All Stars 10 was really what made me be like, wow, she's talented, she has good runways, and the fact that she was just constantly evolving. And talk about evolution, Lydia B. Collins, the fact that she had like a complete, like, I mean, I won't say glow up from her season, like in terms of like she looked pretty similar, but she improved her runways, she improved her design skills, she improved on everything that she got critiqued for on season 17 in the span of a month. Like, that is crazy. And so overall, just bracket 2 is amazing. And yeah, that is the tea. So let me know, did you guys agree with my takes? Did you not agree with my takes? What videos do you want to see from me in the future? Do you want to see more rankings? Do you want to see more unpopular opinions? Let me know in the comments below. Please like the video if you enjoyed it. Please hype the video if you are on mobile. And please consider subscribing because it helps this channel keep on a chuggin'. So thank you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.